Jared PolandFronosPhoto.com, and it's time for another AdoramaPIX Rapid Fire Critique where I take your best 10 photos and give them a critiquerson. So, the critique videos are coming out on Tuesdays and Thursdays around 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like to submit your best 10 photos, and I mean your best 10 photos to be critiqued, please leave a comment down below here on YouTube or click over to the website so that you can follow the directions to submit either your best 10 photos or your website for possibility to be considered for a critique. So let's get into the critique right now, and we have a rapid fire critique of Ben Ludman's photos. So we got Ben Ludman photos. Looks like we have a sports set right here. I'm a big fan of sports, as you guys know. I started off shooting sports. So let's see what we're shooting with Nikon D300S. Holy Jesus, it's a little older, with a 70-300 4.5 to 5.6, and that is a, that's a pretty. It's a good lens for shooting outdoors. It's a great range. But then again, it's not the best for indoors, especially with the D300S. With that being said, to be able to get a shot indoors using that setup means you're doing something right. Now, I'm not saying it's about gear. It's about the photographer that uses the gear. But this D300S at this point, really, shooting that at 3200 ISO is risky. That is an old camera. I'm not saying it's risky in a bad way. I'm saying this is what you end up with, is the noise and grain that you see here. It's a little more prevalent than what you would even see in a D3300 at this point. That's just the nature of the beast. But I have to give you props for getting the exposure spot on using what you're using. So that's good. Is this a good shot? Yeah, it's a good shot. My only thing is, this is just a little nitpicky, is the fact that the ball's right on the floor. And just her look. It's great that you're using these people in the foreground here and here to draw you in. You don't have control of where the ball is, of course. I know that. I'm just saying it's good determination. It would just be cool if the ball was bouncing, but it's on the floor. We understand. That's perfectly fine. Let's go to the next one. So you got a shot going up for the basket. D300, 7300, 4.5, 70 millimeters, 3200 ISO. See, and this is a variable aperture lens, so as you zoom, you're going to get, excuse me, I'm yawning. As you zoom, it's going to, it's variable aperture, so you go from 4.5 all the way out to 5.6 at 300. This is a good shot right underneath the basket. Very nice job. By the way, the 70 millimeter, hold on, I know people are going to yell at me and say, update your Adobe thing, but let me just turn it off. It's actually 100 millimeter equivalent when you put it on the D300S. Very nice job getting this shot in focus, exposure. I don't mind, the grain sucks. It is what it is. It's not a deal breaker in my book. So now we're outside. We have, what the hell? Why are you using the 70-200 outside but not inside? Because that was December 5th of 2015 and February 27th. It looks like they've upgraded. Oh, shnikes. It looks like they've switched systems. They went to the Canon EOS 7D Mark II, fantastic for sports. It's a fast camera, and they got a 70-200 2.8 IS USM, which is a fantastic L lens from Canon. So my criticism on a shot like this, what are we shooting at? Yeah, f4 at 200 millimeters. Need to blow the background out more than this. Around 2.8 would have been a little better. I do shoot at 3.2 when I'm outside as well. But the exposure here, the background, you need to cut back on the exposure and bump the contrast a little bit. This looks more like just an amateurish snapshot in the way of that it's processed. So I also find the background very distracting, that it's not blown out. So this is possible. It's 200. Maybe he was in the stands and it was cropped, because he looks to be at a higher level than where the players are. So that's just my feeling, is that they're above. Oh, yeah, and the 70-200 is actually a 300 millimeter. But it feels like they're either standing. I think you should be lower, and also you can see the lines aren't straight, because that line right there is the out of bounds line, or whatever they call it in this lacrosse stuff. But you can see that the horizontals aren't straight. You got to get your levels straight. Even with this, it's going to look much better. And it's distracting with all these players with their heads cut off. That processing is much better. See the difference, guys? I'm not an asshole. I'm not an asshole for saying this. The contrast on this is 80 million times better. It looks thick and better than when you go to this. It just looks like It looks amateurish. That's all I was saying, is the editing looks amateurish because of the slider for shadows was being pumped up. We know this is black now. That's a great shot. Give props, yo. That's a much better shot. This is a great shot too. Lower down on the field, shooting at what ISO? 6400, much better than what he was able to do with that other camera. This is a great shot. I love that the guy's getting ready to slash, or he's checking. You can see the guy's abs. That's cool. The guy's got the ball right here in the glove. In the stick. This is a great shot, and the background is blown out a hell of a lot better. Very nice shot. Good job on that. Contrast. All right. Let's point out the positives first. 1250 ISO. 1/5000th of a second at f4. One thing that you could do here, in my opinion, not that the ISO is a big deal, but 1/5000th is fast enough. If you were at 1/4000th at about 1000 ISO or even 800 ISO, you could be better off, and then going to 3.2. This is a good shot. I love the way that this guy stopped right here as this guy's blowing by him. Contrast in the sports image is going to make it pop. Go look at Sports Illustrated or the famous sports photos, and you don't see them desaturated or decolored or pulled back like I showed with that image a couple ago. That's the contrast that pops. It's going to set your images apart. And I say this because I look at advertisements that are in magazines, and if advertisements are using these highly crispy and saturated and contrasty images, they're doing it because it's resonating with people. I personally think that contrast resonates. I say it again, personal preference. That's a good shot because you got the batter, the ball, and the pitcher in a good position. 250 ISO at 1/1000th of a second. So in this case, I could see bumping the ISO to 400 ISO and giving me a little bit faster of a shutter speed, or even a little higher. So very nice job. 200 millimeter at 173 millimeters. This is a really nice shot. Nice job. Okay, again, I'm not an asshole, because let's go back to and look at the contrast there. Not so good. Now let's go forward to look at the contrast there. It's a little better. That's one hell of a cross-check to the jugular. That's a good shot. That's a really good shot. Contrast is better. It looks like the ball has flown out and is going this way. This guy just got the shit beat out of him, and the contrast looks much better, and especially capturing all of the sweat going up right there. Fantastic action shot right there. Ah, sweet. That looks great from a distance. And, whoa, with a 1.4x teleconverter. I love that it gives me the metadata just so I can take a look at it there. We're at 4000 ISO. Whoa, must have been a little later. 4000 ISO at f8. Why are we at f8? Let's figure this out, guys. f8, 70 to 200, 2.8. Put a 1.4 converter on it. The 2.8 becomes an f4. Okay, so why are we going to f8 to do that? You could shoot at f4. You could even go to 5.6. Drop your ISO slightly, but so f4, go to 4 to 5.6 to f8 is a stop. Go back one stop, so we could drop the to compensate for that. We could go to 1/4000th of a second, or we could just drop the ISO one stop to 2000 at then f5.6 and get the same exact exposure that we would have right here, right in this vicinity. When I say that right here. Nonetheless, it's a fantastic shot. Love that you found them right in the paint. Not the paint, but in the grass. Great shot. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Contrast, see how it pops? Not making this stuff up, people. Not making it up. This looks good. I like this shot a lot. Boom. So what is this? What are we looking at here? Teleconverter at a $180. Don't be using a teleconverter if you're only at 180 millimeters and you have a 70 to 200 millimeter lens, in my opinion. I'm not a big fan of teleconverters. Now they're better than they were when I first used them. You got some motion blur here because 1/1250th of a second. Again, 320 ISO. Could sped that up if you want to freeze the ball and freeze that action. It's an all right shot. Looks like the sun is coming in. It's an okay shot. And that looks like it's it for these shots. Shots, back to the gallery. So you see what I'm saying about the contrast? You see what I'm saying, how the winning shots have more contrast, in my opinion, of course. I feel that. So that's what I'll leave that at. If you guys want to get a free guide to branding, if you want to get a free guide to building your online presence, go to froknowsphoto.com/branding. You can download that. That is absolutely free. And let's wrap it up right over here. So there's some really good shots in here. Again, critiquing's personal opinion. I give the positives. How you try to do it is you give positives, you point them out, and you try to give people a certain ability to do better the next time out there, or to take this with a grain of salt and not use it. That's what this is about. I go with the information that I have in front of me. New critiques on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Don't forget that's the schedule. If you want to submit your best 10 photos or your website for a critique, leave it down below in the comments or head over to my website, which is probably better to go and click on the link that I have on this video so that you can fill out the form to submit your links for me to possibly critique. And that's it. Please subscribe here on YouTube. If you enjoy these, leave comments down below and give it a thumbs up, as it all helps us continue to make these videos. Jared Poland, FroKnowsPhoto.com. See ya.